Welcome to the 49-Yard Dash podcast, a podcast on your San Francisco 49ers, hosted by myself, Stephen Ellis, and of course joined by my good friend and co-host, Josh LaFon. Today we are doing our divisional predictions for 2022 and Super Bowl predictions, and we got a guest. So let's go ahead and get into it. Once again, we welcome you to the 49-Yard Dash podcast. We got a lot to go over today, so let's get into it and invite our guest. We got Luke back on. He's with us today. We're looking forward to it. We did this last year. It's time for round two. You guys excited for it?
Let's go, baby.
I am.
I'm out here representing the two greatest quarterbacks I've ever seen, Jimmy G and his son, Tom Brady. Let's go.
Well, and additionally, I feel so privileged. It's been such a long time, and I didn't know. I've known Luke for years. I didn't know he was related to celebrities. Snoop Dogg apparently is his uncle. I just found out we got L-Dog here today.
Yeah, man.
So
we
it's
go
crazy.
way back, man.
Yeah, I can tell with the flat bill hat and everything. I didn't know you were from Compton, but the more you know.
So true, man. So true. Hey, man, before we jump into this, I got to do my customary routine. Josh, how you doing today, my man?
Stop playing with me.
Oh,
I ain't
no.
the one. Stop playing with me. Stop playing with me. Stop playing with me. I ain't the one, Steve. I ain't the one. Stop playing with me.
Oh, God.
All right? My family knows what you look like. Stop playing with me. Stop playing with me, bro. Stop playing with me.
Do you know what that is, Luke?
Stop
Did you
playing
see
with
that yet?
Stop playing with me.
No. Is that the Kinlaw thing that you guys brought up? Oh, okay.
Don't you be speaking on my name. Stop playing with me.
Javon Kinlaw going crazy on Grant Cohen. Actually, I commented on something involving that on Twitter earlier, and I said, I can't believe how many people are defending Kinlaw. You can't do that, blah, blah, blah. And I'm getting a lot of pushback and hatred. So,
well, these are the same idiots that I used to argue with when they said trust Jed York and Colin Kaepernick. I'm like, well, Colin's not a good quarterback. We should bench him. No, Colin Kaepernick deserves all the money in the world, and Jim Harbaugh was the problem. Well, these are the same bandwagon idiots you got going on, but we are the three wise men here.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
Of this beautiful nation. So glad to be able to speak on this topic with authority.
Every time I open my Twitter account, it says like 30 notifications, and it's just either people reply. Yeah, it's going. There's a lot of people replying, so it's it's pretty interesting. And
well, for what it's worth, I thought about bringing and leaving Luke into it as well, but didn't want to divide his stock trading world. But I thought about making a tweet saying the 49-yard dash is Team Cone, hashtag Team Cone. But I didn't want to speak for Steve. So I just tweeted it out myself. I said hashtag Team Cone, hashtag Faithful to the Bay, FTTB. So
no, I don't really like Grant, but I do think Kinlaw was the one who's in the wrong there. So, but that's all I say. That's not what we're talking about today because it's a bunch of silliness. Let's get into the good stuff, man. But first, got to go over what happened last year because we did this last year. Picked the divisions. We picked the wild cards, and how I did it was if you got a division winner correct, I gave you a full point. If your division winner made the playoffs but wasn't a division winner, I gave you a half point. And if your division winner missed the playoffs, obviously you don't get anything. And then with the wild cards, I did it the same way, essentially, is if you got a wild card team correct, it's a full point. If you happen to get a wild card team that won a division, I only gave you a half point because it's not technically in the right slot. So the results. And I also included the the conference championships and Super Bowl if we did get that. We did not do well. None of us did on that. So
speak for yourself.
We all had the Bucks, and none of us had the Bengals, obviously. So
Yeah.
there was just clean zeros there. You want me to start with first or third?
Oh, third. You can't end with third.
Well, in your honor, Josh, you were third with 8.5
I knew
points.
With what? With how many points?
8.5.
Okay. Do you have my playoff teams written out in front of you, or no?
I do.
If you don't,
Yeah.
sorry, I could I just hear them?
Yeah.
If you don't mind.
You had the Niners winning. They didn't win, but they were a playoff team. You had Washington winning the NFC East. They didn't make the playoffs. Packers you got right. Bucks you got right. Chiefs you got right. Titans you got right. But you had Browns and Patriots, and neither of them made the playoffs. And then wild cards, Chargers, Ravens were no. Bills and Rams were half points. Let's see. And then I have Seahawks. No, that's not right. You didn't have the Seahawks.
The Patriots did make the playoffs, though. They lost in the wild card game.
Yeah, so you got a half a point for that.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Yeah.
It's about to be contentious after I get blown out. give me that half a point.
Yeah, that's right.
Let's make it 9. Let's make it 9 so I can lose by 10.
I did good with the divisions, but terrible with the wild cards. I got 6 divisions correct. I picked the 49ers. They made the playoffs, so I got half a point. But I picked the Browns. That was my big miss. And then with the wild cards, I picked the Chargers, Ravens, Seahawks, and Panthers to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
So my wild cards were really bad. But then Luke did pretty solid everywhere. His biggest miss was he picked the Vikings to win the NFC North. This was right after the Saints beat the Packers 38-3. So the Packers were looking pretty rough at that point. And then he picked the Chargers, Browns, and Saints to make the playoffs, and they didn't. So, yeah.
So what was our final tally? In third place, I had 8.5.
I think you had 9, actually, because I did put an
thanks.
X on the Patriots. So you had 9. It's my bad, and I just realized that.
Yeah. I had right. Give me a half point.
I had 10, and Luke had 10.5. So
I feel much better losing a respectful 1 point instead of 1.5 points.
Yeah, 1.5, man, that's a blowout.
And it all comes back to let it fly, Lukey, with let it fly with the freaking Steelers, and we're all roasting him for that, and he makes it, and Steve goes scorched earth on his playoff picks and division winners.
Ooh,
man alive, the Panthers and the Seahawks.
Dude, I killed it on division winners, but my wild cards are terrible.
Yeah. It's funny, man. It's going to be interesting this year because I have a feeling me and Steve haven't really discussed our teams at all. I think we kind of have an idea because we've alluded, but never said teams.
Yeah.
And it's only been a couple at that. And I know Luke's going to let a couple fly. He's going to be shooting from the hip on a couple of these. So I have a feeling we're going to be differing as usual.
I hope so.
Controversial spots. So I'm excited to get into it.
All right.
I swear to God, if Luke has the Steelers going like 12-5, I am spitting.
I want it.
I am dumping. I'm not doing a spit take. I'm just dumping my drink on the
laptop. I'm rooting for it, man. I really am. Let's jump into this, man. Let's see. Last time we went full on, like somebody told all 14 and the next person told all 14. Do you want to do that again?
Let's go division by division.
Okay.
That'll keep us a little more contentious.
All right. I don't know. I'll do it in the order that I have here. Let's start with the AFC North, and this is maybe the toughest one.
Sure. But do you feel like going north, south, east, west?
North. I do have it written north, south, east, west.
I figured you did. You're directional, man. I like it. Let's do it.
You know what it is. AFC North. I'll go first, I guess.
All right.
I'm picking the Ravens, man. Regular season juggernaut. I do think the Bengals improved, but this might be controversial. I don't think they were a top 2 team last year, even though they're in the Super Bowl. They kind of squeaked by the Raiders. They kind of squeaked by the Titans. And I think they caught the Chiefs after they were just high on beating Buffalo. And then they lost in the Super Bowl. I don't really think they're an elite team, even though I do love Joe Burrow. And in a playoff game, one game, I would pick the Bengals to beat the Ravens, but I just think the Ravens are such a good regular season team, they'll end up with a better record. So I think they'll win the division.
Yeah, no, I like it. I guess I'll go next.
Go for it.
I've got the Ravens as well, 12-5.
Oh, wow, nice.
And winning the
I
division
thought
as
I would be different.
Well, the reason being, like you said, and we talked about it during our Super Bowl whenever we had Luke on the last couple times, we kind of talked about the playoffs and stuff. And the Bengals were just kind of one of those magical runs that they're going to be better in theory this year, especially on paper, way better. Plus, Burrow's got another season under his belt after that horrible injury. So if he wasn't 100% at all last year, he definitely is this year. But even still, the Ravens are the Atlanta Hawks of the NFL. They're amazing during the regular season and are just a gauntlet. But when you give them time, when you give an NFL team time, just a week or 2 weeks to dedicate to beating them, they can be stopped in the playoffs. So I agree with you, Steve. I would take the Bengals over the Ravens in a one-game wild card game. But as far as the division goes, I got the Ravens winning it, 12 wins and 5 losses.
Nice.
Man, I can't believe you guys are just giving me points like that, man. The Ravens.
Oh, God.
Dude, go ahead. I'll save my comments.
Which state of Pennsylvania team are you picking?
Obviously, the Mitch Trubisky's, man. No,
there's another name for him.
It's the Bengals, man. So I agree. It was a magical run last year, but they really focused in and got guys that they needed for that offensive line, man. I feel like they fixed a few of the small problems that they had. And you could say Jamar Chase may go through a sophomore slump, whatever, but there's still enough weapons around, man. I really think the Bengals are going to come out on top.
And I don't think that's a bad pick at all. I think they're the top 2 teams, and I think they'll be fighting for it. But I do think you got to remember that the Ravens were one of the most injured teams in the NFL's history last year. I mean, they were missing everybody. Their top 3 corners, their left tackle, everybody. Yeah, their top 3 running backs. I mean, half their stinking team. Yeah. And that's why I think they're going to bounce back. And they're just a really good regular season team. But I think it's going to be really, really tight. And
that's what it came down to for me. Well, that's what it came down to for me. I had the Ravens, like I said, 12-5. We'll get to the next team, which I think is probably going to be the one Steve's going to have. I thought that they would sweep the Bengals, and that's why I gave it to the Ravens, just because it's such a hard environment to play in Baltimore. And if you're on the road in the winter with that running offense that the Ravens have, I feel better about the Ravens winning in bad weather with that run game based on Lamar Jackson. But I could easily see this being like a tiebreaker scenario or something.
Right. Me too. Yeah, I totally agree with that. Do you want to jump to NFC and keep on the North, or just go straight AFC and then go back and do NFC? I think we should do AFC then NFC to keep it kind of organized better. But
yeah, sure. Yeah. Just however you want to do it.
AFC South. Luke, you want to kick this one off since we just go opposite order each time?
The AFC South, man. Which one of these losers do I want to pick? The AFC South. I mean, really, I feel like the Titans just gave away one of their best weapons, man. And I don't know. They've always been good. They always surprise me. Hopefully Henry stays healthy. But I think Matt Ryan will actually do a little bit better than Wentz on the Colts. And I think they'll do it, man. I think the Colts are going to take it.
I like it. Josh, what you got, man?
Yeah, that's who I got too.
Wow, okay.
I wouldn't say they'll run away with the division, but we were talking about Kinlaw before the podcast about how the 49ers made the mistake of trying to replace Buckner with Kinlaw and see how that's going.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think Treylon Burks is going to be horrible for Tennessee. He's a decent prospect. I like him. But his ceiling is poor man A.J. Brown, and you just had A.J. Brown. So what are we doing here, Papa? What are we doing? So I got the Colts winning it just simply because I don't think Wentz was a really good locker room guy. He might be more talented than Ryan. They both have injury concerns, as did Phillip Rivers. But Rivers was such a good locker room guy and such a core leader. He got him in playoff contention. I think just that upgrade in the locker room, plus a little bit better of an offensive roster around Ryan, you're going to see the Colts have a pretty good stranglehold on the division this year, especially when the Titans are taking a step back. It seems like losing their key wide receiver, and then Julio, who of course didn't play a ton last year, but still, that's your top 2 receivers on paper that are just gone, and you're replacing them with a rookie who's really raw.
Yeah. No, this is another one where I thought I was maybe going to be alone on, but I also have the Colts. I didn't think the gap between them and Tennessee was big last year, despite the 3-game winning differential or whatever it was. I thought they were close, but Carson Wentz threw away a game at the end of the year that would have got him in the playoffs, and they should have been there. But Wentz threw it away, and I think they upgraded at quarterback, upgraded in a leadership aspect, as Josh said. They got Ngakoue from the Raiders too. The pass rush will be improved with him and Kwity Paye. I think the Colts are going to be better and the Titans are going to be worse. So I also have the Colts. I like it.
Well, and don't forget before we move on that Carson Wentz lost the chance to the playoffs. He threw it away. They threw it away to the Jaguars, which, fortunately, for Jacksonville, if they had Urban Meyer on that sideline, they would have found a way to still lose the game. So it's not all on Carson, but it's mostly on Carson.
You can blame Urban Meyer for the Colts.
That brew pub just couldn't stay away.
That's right, man.
The bar stool is calling.
Yeah, for real. Now, this is one of the easiest, maybe the easiest one to me, the AFC East. No offense to – I think there are 3 solid teams in this division, but I think there's one outstanding team. Obviously, I got Buffalo. Josh Allen is, to me, a top 3 quarterback, absolute superstar, great defense, great offense. They're going to be contenders again and easily win this division.
Yeah, no, 100%. I love being in the middle. I love being the cream. You guys, chocolate cookie, beautiful.
I like it. This is
awesome. It's awesome, man. I did not describe an Oreo well, but we're going to let it fly. I've got the Bills actually with the best record in football. I think they're going to be 14-3 this year. That division, I wouldn't say it's definitely not top heavy, but the Dolphins and Pats, it feels like they're going to beat up on each other so much physically. And then you're running through the gauntlet of the Bills. Their schedule is actually fairly easy. Probably the easiest out of all my division winners. So I've got them at 14-3. I think that they're loaded. You look at the addition of James Cook too in the running game. Kind of adds that lightning that they thought they were getting with. You'd think I'd make a note on it. What's his face? Their running back.
Devin Singletary.
No, Singletary is the good running back. There's the other guy.
The Utah guy. That suddenly
I am
blanking on also.
It's fine. But James Cook is going to kind of fill that void to be Singletary's lightning. And they've still got draft capital and stuff that they don't have need for, that they could make a play for one of these veterans.
They added Von Miller.
And they added Von Miller. They're just loaded, man. I love them top down.
Yeah. Luke?
Yep. I agree with all of that.
Awesome.
Well put.
Right, cool. Let it fly, Lukey.
Well, kick us off, man, with the best division in football now, the AFC West. This one is crazy.
This one is going to be so much fun to watch.
Man.
I can't wait. So, is Russell Wilson going to make that much of a difference? Obviously, a huge upgrade at quarterback. I think he will. How much will Tyreek Hill being off the Chiefs affect them? That deep ball opportunity. Is Devontae Adams the best wide receiver in football, or did Aaron Rodgers make him the best wide receiver in football? Man, I just love this division. So many questions. Amazing. But honestly, man, I feel good about the Broncos. That defense, I feel like, is elite. And now that they got a stud quarterback, man, I think they're going to put the points up to win.
You and Cowherd, man. He freaking loves the Broncos. I had to say that. But it's not a bad pick at all. Yeah.
I didn't go Broncos here. I've got them as third in my division, but I could easily see them as second, and I'll get to that in just a second. I've got the Chargers winning it. I got them at 13-4. I think just that, what is it going to be, the third year of Justin Herbert now? So we're going to Herbert's third year. That's the biggest improvement quarterbacks make, is from year 1 to 2 and year 2 to 3. We saw him kind of rise up to be a superstar last year. We'll see if that coaching staff can improve, but they've made some really good additions this offseason. Josh Allen, Justin Herbert's really improving. I like them to kind of take advantage of the Chiefs slipping just a little bit with some personnel shuffling. Don't forget, the Chiefs also lose Tyrann Mathieu, who was the captain of their defense. That's going to be something you can't just go out and replace in a talent. And also Travarius Ward, who the 49ers signed. We'll touch on that later, I'm sure, when we go over the Niners. But I've actually got the Chiefs at second. I know we're not really going through all these, but the Broncos I've got third just because I think they're going to get beat up so much. I could easily see them and the Chiefs swapping, though, just because, like Luke said, the Broncos defense is awesome. Russell Wilson is going to be a huge upgrade. It just really depends on, to me at least, it feels like the Chargers are just a notch above everybody else, and then it's how do those three kind of beat up on each other, who can survive the gauntlet and come out healthy more than anything with their key playmakers.
Well, this is fitting for the most competitive division. We're going to have 3 different picks because I'm sticking with Kansas City.
Nice.
I know losing Tyreek is big, but they've gone out and got some pretty solid fillers, and obviously not one of them is going to replace Tyreek individually, but I think they have probably a deeper group of weapons now, and I buy into Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes duo. I think they're going to have it one more year, but man, I think it's going to be close. And it's crazy because I think the Raiders are a clear 4, and the Raiders are a really good team. That's just how crazy this division is. I really do think the Broncos could finish first. I really do think the Chargers could finish first. I think the Chiefs can finish first. I think that any 3 of these teams could play in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Just a ridiculous division, and this one's going to be a really fun one for us to look back to with us 3 having different picks because I don't know if that's happened before. So that's pretty awesome.
The one thing, like you mentioned with Tyreek, you don't need to replace him as one player. You can replace him in the aggregate.
Right.
Obviously, there's going to be some plays that you can't do with these other guys, but you can utilize, one of the 3, in the jet sweep like you would a Tyreek.
Yeah.
You can use one, coming in motion on a slant. You can use the other one on a straight go. So he's going to be replacing the aggregate. You don't have to go the Titans route like we ragged on
trying
earlier.
to replace him with one guy.
No, you can spend that money and allocate. No, you can't. You got to allocate those resources to replace an aggregate. So they did a nice job of that. But like I said, and I think you guys would agree, any of those 3, like you said, could easily win the division. It's who, in my mind, who stays the healthiest, whose quarterback stays the healthiest. All 3 of these guys aren't injury prone, but have had injuries in their careers. So somewhat of a history there. Which one of these 3 quarterbacks stays healthy, I think, and plays the best, obviously, is going to be the one that wins this division.
Yep. I like it a lot. Let's see. You guys want to – let's do our wild card so we can stick it conference.
Okay.
I'll go ahead and do mine. So obviously I'll do my order too. I have the Bills as the overall 1 seed, the Ravens as the 2 seed, the Chiefs as the 3 seed, and the Colts as the 4 seed as division winners. I got the Chargers at 5, and then the Bengals at 6, Broncos at 7. And it's crazy to me. I'm leaving out a lot of good teams. A lot of good teams will not make the playoffs because the AFC is so ridiculous. But that is my 7 there.
Yeah, so I'm not far off from you, Steve, I guess. And we're all, of course, going to have a few similar ones. I'm curious. I've already forgotten Luke's. I'm curious to see his in a second. So my number 1 overall seed is the Bills at 14-3, Chargers 13-4, Colts 12-5, Ravens 12-5. Colts and Ravens, I don't believe, play each other. So it'll be some kind of winning percentage tiebreaker this year in that. My number 1 overall wild card, the Chiefs 11-6, Titans 10-7, and Bengals 10-7.
Okay.
I'll stick with you guys on the Bills being the number 1. Probably Bills, Bengals, Broncos, Colts.
Okay.
I think the Chiefs are going to be next, followed by the Ravens, and I'm going to stick the Titans in there as that last seed to barely squeeze in.
I can't help but notice you have the Chargers missing the playoffs.
I do, man. It's because of that division.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is a ridiculous division.
Yeah, it is.
It's the same reason I had the Broncos missing the playoffs.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, you guys are just on the opposite.
I've got them at 9-8.
I had all three of them making it, baby.
Nice.
It's last year's NFC West.
You know, it feels like these years on paper where everybody gets so hyped, like, man, this is going to be awesome. It never lives up to the hype. It never does.
One of the teams disappoint.
Like, man, we're going to have, man, you better turn into the AFC West because we've got Justin Herbert versus Russell Wilson, Patrick Mahomes versus the singer from the Black Parade from Green Day here in the Las Vegas Raiders. I bombed the punchline because I forgot that singer's name. But what's his face? Oh my God. I was going to say David Carr. Never mind. Just this joke is bombed. I was going to say he wears mascara.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
Derek Carr wears mascara.
Yeah, Derek,
he does.
Joke. He does.
That was my joke.
Well, it would have been a good joke.
Thanks, man. Yeah.
I would have enjoyed
it. Again in the year. Try to get in the year.
That's right. Let's jump to the NFC, man, and we'll start with the North once again. I'll kick it off, and for the 28th year in a row, the Green Bay Packers take the NFC North. They downgraded in their weapons for sure, losing Devontae Adams and Marquez Valdez-Scantling. But Aaron Rodgers is really good, and I think that they'll have a top 3 defense. Their defense looks really, really good. So I'm going with the Packers.
Yeah, all the reasons you said. It's an interesting division, that's for sure. Yeah, Packers losing Devontae Adams. They've tried to replace him again in the aggregate. They got Christian Watson. They made some other additions. We'll see how well that goes. Looks like their defense is even better than it was last year on paper. I feel like they're going to run away with that division.
Yeah.
I would go anybody other than the Green Bay Packers if I could trust one of these teams, man. Like, for real. It's got 3 teams that just can't trust it all. So, for that reason, I'm going Green Bay.
Nice. We'll kick us off with the South, man. Another one that I think is pretty easy. But
yeah, folks will take that. Although I do think the Saints will be improved. I still think the Bucs will take it.
Me too.
Yeah, Bucs. I've got them in a landslide, actually.
Yeah.
I know we're not really doing record stuff, and we'll go through those later, but later on in the year. But I've actually got this is the worst division in football. I got the Saints at 5-12, the Falcons 5-12, and the Panthers 4-13. I think that's all those things are going to – the Saints, that is a tower ready to crumble. Everybody's saying how great they're lined up to succeed. We'll see how the quarterback situation shakes out. We know the injury history they have with the guys on defense that are key. Michael Thomas and his issues, Alvin Kamara and his health issues. You got a first-year head coach in Dennis Allen. We'll see how much the offense changes with Sean Payton not being there. I don't buy the Saints at all. Feel like the Bucs, this is just one of those years with Brady. They're not maybe going to try for the number 1 overall seed in the NFC. But you could see them just being like running away with it all year, being able to have the luxury to rest guys. It feels like it's the Bucs and then everybody else.
I think the Bucs are winning this too, of course. I don't think it'll be competitive, but I'm higher on the Saints than you. I think more where Luke is with the Saints, but I do think it's going to be pretty clear who the best team in this division is. This is one of my favorites, and it's kind of upsetting to me, the NFC East. So I'll reveal I'm picking the Eagles to win this thing. I think the Eagles got a lot better. Me and Josh said this after the draft happened, that when the Eagles entered the draft with 2 first-round picks, if you would have told me that with those 2 first-round picks, they picked Jordan Davis, defensive tackle out of Georgia, and Nakobe Dean, linebacker out of Georgia, I would have said, all right, yeah, solid. That's good. Well, what they did was they got Jordan Davis. They traded one of those for A.J. Brown and still got Nakobe Dean.
Yeah.
In the 3rd round, which was a wild steal. I don't know why he fell. Yeah. He's this year's Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, who the Browns got.
Good job.
You know it.
Landed up.
I thought the Eagles were close to the Cowboys last year, honestly. I think they took a big step forward, and the Dallas is going to take a little bit of a step back. The reason I say I'm disappointed is I was actually going to be bold and pick the Eagles before the A.J. Brown trade or the James Bradbury pickup. But then they trade for A.J. Brown, and now everybody's picking the Eagles. They're not everybody, but they're a popular pick now, so it's kind of annoying. But I love the Eagles this year, so I'm taking them. Go Birds.
Oh, I'm with you. Oh, hey, Steve, how do we do the Philly accent again?
Go Birds.
There you go.
I really don't know.
You killed it. When you're around somebody from Philly, you'll know. Go Birds. I'm also in hashtag Team Cone, hashtag Go Birds, and I've got them winning the division. Interesting. I don't think I've told Luke this stat because I heard on Pat McAfee's show. Me and Steve talked about it a couple weeks ago. The NFC East has not had a back-to-back division winner in 17 years.
That's wild.
The Cowboys won it last year. You never trust a Jerry Jones-owned team or a Mike McCarthy coached offense to be able to replicate that success. So I'll take the Eagles to win the division. And not that Jalen Hurts is a bad quarterback by any means. I think he's top 25, which isn't to say he's horrible, but he's better than backup quality for sure. But that speaks to how talented this roster is, that if you put Jalen Hurts on, say, the 49ers, people would have serious questions about, man, how's he going to handle all that? Is he going to win the division? How's he going to compete? Well, that roster is just so loaded that the knocks people were given to Jalen Hurts last year, they're gone now. It's now the A.J. Brown, the Jordan Davis, and the Kobe Dean show. It's no one talking about Jalen Hurts, and that's a good thing. But, yeah, Eagles, I think, are going to win it. Go Birds.
Yeah, I had a tough time picking between the Eagles and the Cowboys, but I think like you, Steve, I think they're just going to take that step up, and I feel like the Cowboys are just going to take that next step down.
Yeah,
so
right.
That's why I'm leaning them.
Yeah, and let me add too. I actually, when Jalen Hurts was in college, I made comments about him. I did not expect him to be a quality NFL quarterback at all, and I still think he has his struggles throwing the football as a quarterback, but
some would say that's the most important aspect of being a quarterback.
Sure. No, I'm saying he's not a high-end thrower of the football by any means. But, man, I think he has great intangibles and leadership, work ethic. He gets better every year. Obviously, he's really dynamic with the football in his hands. And I don't mind him being a quarterback. I mean, obviously this year, I think if he underwhelms, they're probably trying to draft somebody next year. But I don't think I'm doomed with Jalen Hurts back there is basically what I'm getting to. So, yeah.
Yeah, and it's funny, and I want to get Luke's thoughts as our resident Alabama fan. But
That's
when
right.
the Eagles drafted him, they spent a second-round pick on him because it was the Taysom Hill year. And it's like, oh, we can use him as a gadget. That's what everybody's talking about. It's like, oh, we feel like he's got Taysom Hill qualities. Well, Jalen Hurts immediately steps on the field and is an instant upgrade over Taysom Hill.
Yeah.
So you don't feel bad about having him. But how do you feel about him, Luke, being a Lukey Bama fan?
I'm surprised he's doing as well as he is in the NFL.
Yeah.
I feel like he's always put in the work. But even at Alabama, man, it's like accuracy was never his thing. Yeah. It was, the intangibles, taking that run or whatever. I mean, I still think you have the memory of Jimmy G overshooting Emmanuel Sanders in the Super Bowl. Like it's stuck in your mind. I've got that same memory of Jalen Hurts overthrowing, I don't know if it's Jerry Jeudy or whoever against Clemson, man. I mean, he's got him beat and he overthrows him by 5 yards, and that would have just sealed it. And it's like, I can't shake those memories.
It's funny you say that because part of why I was really low on Jalen Hurts coming in is because I had a memory stuck of him. And I don't know, I can't remember how long he started, but at least one of the Iron Bowl games that he played where it's like the game that they lost against Auburn. And he had like one final drive, I believe, where he could have it was a clutch situation, basically. And there were like 2 or 3 out of 4 plays where he just like missed. open dudes like throwing it way behind him or way over him. And I'm like, good Lord. They're like open guys, and I thought he lost. It was the reason they lost that game. And I had the same deal where I just couldn't get that out of my head. But now I like him.
Yeah.
Well, and it's funny.
No, I like him too.
Well, it's funny that me and Steve don't like Tua. We've made that clear. Luke's, probably feels more divided on him than some of our other Bama friends. He's more level-headed about it. Don't bring up Mac Jones to him though. But with Jalen, you look at him in college. I know it kind of cracks me up the way Steve phrases thrower of the football. He's a quarterback. He's not a wildcat. He's a quarterback. But no, really, the things he did in college, processing and stuff, he didn't do them well, but he did them at an NFL level. His thinking ability and his leadership qualities were pro level.
Yeah.
His attributes were not. Whereas Tua, and the reason I bring him up, for that offense, it was literally slants and go routes. It was 5-yard slants to Jalen Waddle, or it was 50-yard bombs to Devontae Smith and Jerry Jeudy. It's like that's what the offense. Well, that's not what Jalen Hurts is good at. Jalen Hurts is trying to process reads, do stuff from an NFL quarterback standpoint. And now that they're in the NFL, the guy who was #tank for Tua that everybody wanted is maybe on a prove it year now, and Jalen Hurts is on track to, whether he's a starter or not, is going to have as long of a career in the NFL as he wants in some capacity.
Yeah,
so that's interesting how it plays out.
That's true.
So. Yeah. Although I feel like this is sort of a prove it year for Jalen as well.
It is both. If he does underwhelm, they have the assets to try to move up in the draft and grab maybe the other Alabama quarterback, maybe Bryce Young or CJ Stroud or whatever. They have 2 first-round picks next year as well that they can try to use to move up. So they're in position. They have insurance for Jalen Hurts if he does hold them back. So it is a prove-it year for both of them. But I do agree that what I've seen from Jalen so far, I do think I like more than what I've seen from Tua thus far. But
well, and I guess just to make it clear what I meant by prove-it year too, as a starter, sure, you could make that case 100%. We've touched on that. Tua and his injury history is a boom or bust guy to me, which is why I don't think the Dolphins have any shot at contending in that division, even with Josh Allen. It just seems like with that injury history, with his level of play, it's so boom or bust. He's either going to be a starter in the league, or you're going to see him like Baker, eventually going to slowly fade out. Whereas with Jalen, you've got stuff that you can build on as far as it's already proven. If it doesn't work out as a starter, he's going to be a high-end backup as long as he wants to be in the league, I guess is what I meant by that.
I am rooting for him, though. Like, I hope that he has a really good year, and that's their guy. I've come to really like him a lot. So It's the moment of truth, though. It's the NFC West, the home of these San Francisco 49ers. And Luke's going to kick it off because I kicked off the East, so it's his turn to kick it off. And
all right, guys. Can you tell me who the starting quarterback is going to be?
It's Trey Lance.
Of which team?
Okay. Yeah. 49ers, man. They started Trey Lance and Jimmy G.
I think about the Seahawks.
No, I don't care about the Seahawks.
I don't know if there's anything that I own that you view as valuable, but I will bet whatever that item is that Trey Lance is starting.
Here's a thought: your life.
Deal. I'll do it.
Take it.
Not that valuable, but you know.
And I'm fine with whoever starts, man. I still think it's going to be the Rams.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm with Luke. I love Trey Lance. There's going to be bumps. There's not going to be enough bumps for us to miss the playoffs, but there's going to be enough for the Rams to have a stranglehold on the division. Even if the record's close, it feels like they're just going to Darth Vader choke it.
Yeah, I mean, the Rams will go 0-2 against Kyle Shanahan, I'm sure, but they'll go 4-0 against the Seahawks and Cardinals combined. So, no, I think it's the Rams too. It was the Rams last year with Jimmy Garoppolo at the helm, and I think the 49ers are going to be better defensively this season. Adding Charvarius Ward, having hopefully a healthier secondary, knock on wood, adding stuff in the defensive line. Drake Jackson, hopefully, can be impactful, and some of these young guys with another year under their belt, I think they'll be better defensively. And then the offense, it does ride on Trey Lance to an extent, but like George Kittle was saying just the other day, there's going to be ups and downs in Trey Lance, but if that's the case, we have a great team to help him out. I mean, what was the playoff strategy for the Jimmy Garoppolo-led offense in 2019? It was Raheem Mostert run it 40 times a game. They can't do that with Trey Lance if he's struggling.
Mm-hmm.
They have the team to be able to, even if he is having those ups and downs, as we expect, first-year starting guy, super young, they have a good enough team to continue playing well. And I think they'll still be a really good team, but I think the Rams they're defending Super Bowl champions, and they're going to win 12, 13 games. So, yeah.
Yeah, and when you think about the 49ers, like we talked about, the bumps that Trey Lance will inevitably have as a first-year starter, the ebbs and flows. Keep in mind, too, we talked about off-season additions, in previous episodes, Danny Gray, Drake Jackson, Ty Davis-Price should all contribute. And then there's another guy in particular that I've been thinking about, guy kind of flying under the radar. You might not heard of him, Javon Kinlaw.
Jeez. Never heard of him.
Yeah, real wild guy. Look him up on YouTube. Yeah. So anyway, but no, like all the things Steve mentioned, kidding aside, it's not going to be a panic deal if Trey Lance is bumpy, because guess what? Jimmy Garoppolo is bumpy too. And for everybody, Luke talking to him, that wanted Mac Jones, how did that whole deal go when adversity hit him? So it's the same deal. It can, you're going to have bumps as a first-year starter. And I would rather take those lumps with a guy with as much potential as Trey Lance than take those bumps with Jimmy Garoppolo throwing an unwarranted pass to seal our fate in the NFC Championship.
And let me throw in, too, real quick. I was very happy to see this offseason, because if there was one guy on the roster that I was worried about being a Jimmy lover and really hating this idea of moving on from Jimmy to Trey Lance just because of their relationship, it was George Kittle. And this offseason, George Kittle has had nothing but really glowingly good things to say about Trey Lance, and that's really encouraging for me. And it doesn't even sound like PR. I'm saying what I'm supposed to say stuff. Like, he's offering really highly thought of words that he doesn't have to say if it was a PR answer, whatever you want to call it. So that is an encouraging sign from being a Kittle, because he's like my favorite player, but I was worried about him being a Jimmy guy. So,
well, in regards to the deal of who's going to start, well, just reading Shanahan's quote word for word, asking him about, are they going to trade him? They're going to release him. What are they going to do? He goes, this is his exact quote verbatim. Yeah, nothing's changed since his surgery. We knew where we were before that, and then he got the surgery, so everything went on hold. I expect him at some time, most likely to be traded, but who knows? It's not a guarantee, and it's been exactly on hold when that happened, and when he's healthy, we'll see what happens. So what I take away from that is they're going to trade him after the surgery if they can find a team to eat that salary, and if not, he's going to get waived so he can go to his team of choosing. You can't do a professional dirty by trading them to a dumpster fire for a 7th round conditional pick. It'd be better for posterity purposes to cut him and let him go where he wants. So feels like that's going to happen eventually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they were actively trying to trade him, and I think they still are. So, Luke, you want to kick us off with these wild cards, man? Your 3 NFC wild cards?
Yeah, I do, man. I got the Niners.
My boy.
Yeah.
That's what matters.
Yeah. For sure. I'm probably going to go with the Cowboys and Saints after that.
Okay. Josh?
So I also have the 49ers. Like we said, got the Rams winning the division. 49ers being my top overall wild card team. Cowboys a game behind them. And then my surprise here coming in the third wild card. hide your kneecaps, boys, because Dan Campbell is breaking in your window.
Hey, Dan Campbell's.
The fighting Dan Campbell's, baby. That division's wide open. Most of the NFC sucks outside of the West. So outside of the Packers, that division's open.
Okay.
So you've got a ton of winnable games there. The Vikings suck. The Bears suck. The Lions always sneak one from the Packers every year. So they're in a really good spot. Are they the most talented team? No. They're going to be the worst wild card team to make the wild card in theory in quite some time. But their schedule is really easy. That division outside of the 2 games of Green Bay are layups. So take a flyer, man.
I had a feeling. I know how much you love them, man.
Yeah, oh, boy.
Well, I also have the Niners at 5, the Cowboys at 6, and I have the same as Luke, the Saints at 7. So to me, it was between the Saints and the Cardinals for the 7th spot. I settled on the Saints mainly because I don't trust the Cardinals at all. That's it. Yeah. But I will throw this out. I don't think the Lions are going to make the playoffs, Josh, but I will say this. I would guarantee that they're not going to finish last in the division. The Bears are going to. And I do think they will compete with Minnesota for sure for that 2nd spot.
And what it comes down to, go ahead, sorry.
No, you go ahead.
So it's going to come down to who do you like between the Saints, the Lions, and the Commanders? Those are going to probably be that next group of 3 that are contending for the last one. I don't trust the Cardinals at all, especially with Kyler Murray's contract deal. That's just a mess. That's a mess waiting to happen. Like we called it last year with the Seahawks. Cliff Kingsbury, we know how he rolls. They're less talented this year than last year. I don't love them. So for me, it's going to come down to which team hovering around 500. Lions, Commanders, Saints, I guess, if you want to throw them in there. That's probably who your wild card team is going to come from.
Isn't D-Hop out 6 games or whatever for the PEDs?
Yeah,
sure is.
Yeah, that's true.
Man, that offense went so bad without Hopkins, man. It was really a big difference.
But this might be the first time in 100 years that Cliff Kingsbury has a chance of having a better record in the second half of the season than the first.
Dang,
Maybe.
I was about to make a counterpoint. I was about to make your counterpoint, Steve, because he needs a hot start to save his job in the second half. Well, you're not going to get the hot start this year. So me and Steve reviewed Cliff Kingsbury, was it last week or 2 weeks ago? His record season by season, how he started out 4 wins or better out of like 7 out of his 10 years or whatever.
Yeah.
You're not going to get the hot start this year, boys. So
that's true.
Bryce Young and Kyler Murray in Oakland playing for the Athletics.
Playing for the Athletics. Nice. All right, guys.
Hey, man,
sorry.
Just one more thing. Nobody picked the Browns, man. Are you guys afraid that Deshaun's going to get suspended, or what's the deal with the Browns, in your opinion?
I do think he will get suspended. I would predict either like 6 or 8 games, in my opinion. And even if he was playing all year, it wouldn't shock me if there's a little bit of rust. He hasn't played in a little while. And I think the Bengals and Ravens are really good teams. So even if he does play the whole year, I don't know if they make the playoffs. The AFC is that good. But, of course, they would contend for the playoffs if he played. But I'm predicting he misses 8 games. So that's me.
Well, for one, I don't support predators. And 2,
since when?
And well, don't worry about it. Do I need to tweet it out from the official 49-yard dash account? Team hashtag Team No Predators. We disavow predators on this podcast. Officially disavow all predators, no matter what shape, size, or ethnicity you are. You're disavowed. It's such a weird dynamic too. Think about not only the suspension, they're keeping Baker. That's not going to not happen. I know you got Jacoby Brissett, but nobody's taking Baker off your hands.
I think they're going to cut him, though, eventually. But
they're going to eat all that money with as much as Jimmy Haslam has spent on that team. I find that hard to believe. And if you do, by some chance, keep Baker in that team, think about how much of a locker room cancer he was before, how much he's going to be now. Like trying to go out there, and even if he's just on the team, that's such a weird dynamic. And we know how professional sports locker rooms work. You don't have to be the best team, but if everybody clicks and operates in sync, you can really accomplish some stuff. you got that not dynamic hanging over him this whole offseason.
It's
You
rough.
got the Deshaun thing hanging over him this whole offseason. Man, I don't know. And then Denzel Ward, that whole deal, I don't know, with his contract, that was hanging over him previously. It's just there's been so much negative energy around this team when really they should be clear in a way the best team in the North with Deshaun Watson, that defense. But it's just there's so much negative energy over him. I don't know if they can rebound from that to do much more than 500.
We'll have to see, man. We'll have to see. All right, the time has come for the conference championship picks and Super Bowl picks. Who wants to kick? Josh, do you want to go? You can call first or third if you want, since you've been going in the middle the whole time.
Okay.
Like you choose your slot.
The cream is now on the outside. I will go first, and I will take.
Okay.
Are we going both? Are we going both AFC and NFC?
Yeah, just go both.
Okay. AFC, Bengals and Bills. NFC, Bucks and Packers.
Nice. Okay. Another rematch of those guys. Luke, you want to go second or third?
I'll go third, man. Let me think.
Okay. Well, I have the same NFC as Josh. Yes, the Packers and the Buccaneers. I'm not going to explain myself. In the AFC, despite them being a wild card team for me, to face the Buffalo Bills, I'm picking the Chargers to make a run in the playoffs. The team Luke didn't have in the playoffs, I'm picking them to make the AFC Championship with that new and improved defense. And Justin Herbert is also a superstar. So I'm going the Chargers. I want to do something a little different, spicy.
Nice, man.
Caliente.
I'll go AFC, man. I think I feel the Broncos and the Bills.
I had a feeling.
Defenses, man. Good quarterbacks.
I like it.
I think it'll end up that way. And for my NFC, man, I got the Niners playing the Bucks. I got them, man. There may be some bumps in the regular season, man, but they're going to figure it out by the time the playoffs come around. Dude, I'm telling you, man, they wouldn't let Jimmy G throw the ball in the playoffs. We can do that with Trey Lance. I don't care.
That's what
run.
That's what I'm saying.
We can do it.
There are only a few sports moments ingrained in your head as a fan, good or bad. And it's a shame that my two out of my three worst 49ers memories are both Jimmy Garoppolo to Emmanuel Sanders and then last year's NFC Championship game. So congrats to Jimmy.
Impressive feat, no doubt. To be I had to get a drink of water.
Yeah, it was very impressive.
Super Bowl picks. I'll go first. This is probably stupid of me, but I have finally Aaron Rodgers overcoming Tom Brady in the playoffs, and I'm going to regret this. It's going to be wrong. But I believe in the defense, and I believe in Aaron Rodgers, and he's probably going to retire in week 3 now. But I have the Bills beating the Packers, Josh Allen winning the Super Bowl, really cementing himself in the elite status of quarterbacks. Bills Mafia.
Yeah. I guess I'll go second. I'll take the Bucks over the Packers because until they go out and do it,
the logical pick.
Prove it to me. What have you done for me lately? And I will take the Bills over the Bengals. Just think Josh Allen, superstar. And similar to your thoughts, Steve, as far as with Josh Allen cementing his legacy, I think that's the time to do it. So I will take the Bills. Finally, the 4 falls of Buffalo have come to their resting place.
Yes.
And Bills Mafia breaks every plastic table in the tri-state
oh my
area.
God.
Bills over the Bucks in the Super Bowl.
I love it.
Man, this is wild that I'm the homer here, man. I feel like the roles are reversed from last year.
They have.
Man, this is weird. Let me check my pulse, man, see what's going on.
And you do know that it's Trey Lance, right?
I do know it's Trey Lance, man. But all right, going to AFC. Bills have home field advantage. They're gonna take it. They're gonna make it to the Super Bowl, man. It's going to be Tom Brady against the 49ers. It's going to be, I
Ooh.
mean, can he really beat his heart out like that? He always want to play for the 49ers. Can he beat the 49ers? I don't know, man. I got the Niners. I got the Niners in it. And I'm just taking
Luke
the
has
Niners
the best
home
pick.
to win the Super Bowl, man.
Luke's
I'm
got
just
the
going to take
best
them
pick,
all the way,
All the
baby.
way.
Trey
All
Lance,
right, man.
first year starter. Let's
Hey,
do it.
man, they're built to win right now. They really are. And
He doesn't even have
we
to
just got to
be
do it.
elite for them to win
He
a Super
doesn't.
Bowl.
He really doesn't.
Luke took it home. My pick sucked. Josh pick sucked.
Yes.
Screw the Steelers.
I'm declaring him the winner already. We're not doing a review next year.
No, but just real quick before we close out, I mean, obviously we are a 49ers podcast. The team was a couple bad Jimmy plays away from making the Super Bowl, honestly, if we're
And
going
a
to break it down.
Jaquaski Tart drop.
Well, and even then, but you don't just blame it on one player. But if there was one player who single-handedly lost
Except Jimmy
it was
Garoppolo.
Jimmy. It was Jimmy's performance in the championship game. The team's better this year. They've addressed the issues in the secondary. They've added speed with Danny Gray in the draft. They've found an edge rusher, hopefully, who can be dominant next to Nick Bosa. I know we ragged on Kinlaw. He is healthy. He was a first-round pick. In theory, he should give you better production on the inside than what you got before.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see what happens. But on paper, it's a much better team than it was last year. So,
love it, man.
Bet
Let's
Luke.
do it. Road to 6, man.
Let's do it, man.
Tie those Steelers for 6 championships. I love it. Well, this time next year we'll come back to it and we'll have to tally it up. And Luke gets 5 points for his pick. 5 full points.
Yes.
How many do I get for picking Dan Campbell?
Dude, honestly, if that does come true, you should get a bonus point, or at least. I mean, that's pretty awesome. I hope it does happen. I love where the lines are at, man.
We'll see.
All right, Josh, man, before we close this thing out, the fact of the week, tradition.
Sure. So, Luke's on. Try to keep it 49ers base.
Okay.
Talking about Jimmy Garoppolo.
Oh, no.
How long do you think Jimmy Garoppolo can live without Kyle Shanahan as an NFL quarterback? We have a point of reference here, but I want your guesses first before we give you the fact. How long can Jimmy Garoppolo live as an NFL starting quarterback, or a quarterback in general, without Kyle Shanahan? Guesses. This isn't rhetorical. I want your guess.
You want a serious answer?
Yeah, I don't care what you do.
You guys know that I view him as in the class of Ryan Tannehill, Kirk Cousins, Matt Ryan right now. So I think he should be starting somewhere.
Okay. All right, Luke.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. He should be starting somewhere.
All right. I was joking about it being serious, but all right. As a reference point, it's all right. As a reference point, talking about how long Jimmy can make it, a cockroach can live for up to 1 week with its head cut off. So Jimmy has a good chance.
That is awesome. I like it. Classic
Hashtag
Josh.
Team Tone. Hashtag
True
Team
that.
Tone.
True that. We can't do a 49-yard dash podcast without Josh getting his Jimmy Garoppolo shots in. So, that's what we do here. But we enjoyed it. This was fun. It'll be even more fun to come back to it. And it'll be the most fun when Luke's prediction comes to reality. So let's all root for that. And next week, me and Josh are going to make up some random stuff. We might rank some uniforms or something across the 3 main sports, maybe 4. Yep. Josh talked about hockey. I don't do hockey, so I didn't put him in there. But,
so we compromised. Me and Steve are going to try him on live on camera as well. See all 20.
That's a lot of money. But until then, this has been the 49-yard dash. I'm Steven. That's Josh. That's Luke. Peace out, everybody.
Team Cone forever.